Hello, Heat Seekers. Welcome to another riveting edition here of the Heat Sheet. And I've got with me our editor-in-chief, Chris. Chris, how are we today?
I am not bad at all, Steve. I'm ready to hit some headlines because it has been quite a week in the world of wrestling.
Would you say, in terms of a pop culture impact, is this the biggest week in wrestling ever?
Uh, Maybe not the biggest week ever. I think. Uh, Again, we'll probably get into talking about it a bit more later on. I think probably Hogan joining the NWO was a bigger thing because of it was right at the height of uh, when wrestling was pretty much at its peak. But certainly the John Cena heel turn that nobody saw coming, but everybody saw coming at the same time is certainly a big thing. It's transcended a lot of stuff over the last few days, not just the wrestling world. I think it was like one of the top viewed things on ESPN. They were reporting it like it was a big thing. You've obviously got the Travis Scott involvement, which is where you've got your mainstream media crossover as well. So yeah, looking forward to kind of diving right into that on the pod and seeing what your opinions are as well as mine, because I'm at the minute. My head's still fried with it all, so I don't really know what my opinion is. But maybe when I verbalise it here, I'll get to a final conclusion on it.
Yeah. In case you have been living under a rock since Saturday, John Cena, the face that runs the place, the man that always seems to have been the baby face, went from being the record setter of Make-A-Wish Foundation visits to saying "fuck them kids" and
Exactly.
decided to turn heel. I, I mean, it's done me. I'll be open and honest. I actually didn't see it coming. I thought it was going to be possibly Punk turning heel
Mm.
because I think the storyline was there that he was going to sell out just because he's that desperate now to main event WrestleMania. So to see that it was Cena did it just totally took me aback, like to the point where when I saw him with that kind of sinister stare and Rock giving him that signal, my jaw dropped. It was gobsmacking. And instantly, my thoughts were: you mentioned the Hogan heel turn in '96. I thought, oh God, this must have been what it would have been like when Hogan turned heel in
Mm.
'96. It's the only one that compares, is it? Because it was you thought it was never ever going to be the one that turns his back on the fans and the pop culture kind of shockwave of it all. I've never seen anything like it from wrestling. John Stewart, he covered it on the Daily Show on Monday.
Mm.
He even compared it. He even like explained it to Americans as this is what's going on with the US, Ukraine, and Russia right now.
There's a lot of
And
similarities with it. A lot of
like,
similarities.
which got me thinking: Do you think there's a possibility that may have escalated it? Because that got well, because I thought that I think they could have maybe have saved that for WrestleMania, but Triple H maybe got an idea. I say we're going to push the trigger on that now because it is eerily similarities. The Rock is Putin, Cody Zelensky, and is obviously Trump, and the roles they're kind of playing there.
I would hope that it was just it was a coincidental art imitating life,
Probably was
as opposed to being
life imitating art. And,
being scheduled to be that way. But it's certainly, it was a big week. It was a big week for. Well, I mean, you can't really call Trump and JD Vance having a heel turn.
no,
I
it's
mean,
already heels. Aye.
they're bona fide as it is,
Mm-hmm.
but certainly the optics of it, and I think I think even if you look at the whole thing about Elimination Chamber being in Canada and the
Aye.
kind of the civil unrest between the Canadians and the Americans just now, which Logan Paul, sort of like leaned into as well. I think it's the the political state is probably, helped the feeling of, or certainly helped the heel turn get over that wee bit more in that regard. There's Lewis. Lewis, how you doing, fella?
So bad. Nothing
Better
like
late than never.
nothing like a bit of politics to start the podcast off with, a bit of cancellation.
Oh no, we've not said anything that gets cancelled just yet.
Yeah,
not yet. Anyway.
Keyword yet.
We'll get there. We're only 2 minutes into it.
I mean, doesn't take a genius to figure out what it is we're talking about. What was your immediate reaction when Cena delivered that low blow to Cody?
So I was up at my pal's watching it, and he was displaying in pretty much an anaphylactic shock from my pal's dogs. So I think we called it a night at that point, just before the main event. So I went home. I was planning on watching it, and the entrances were coming on. So it just, as you do, you sort of close your eyes for 2 minutes to let Damian Priest appear on your screen and walk to the ring, which then arose me at 9:15 the next morning. So I tried my best to stay off the screen and everything, and I kind of half swiped my pal's chat to see where I was, and I seen Cena. I seen the name Cena, so I went, right, John Cena's won the Elimination Chamber. So then I turned it on, probably even more sort of caught off guard when it happened anyway. And when I seen the Cena face, my first reaction was, shit, we're getting Cena Rock. And then the cogs started turning in my head, going, no, he's going to kick Cody in the cock here, isn't he? And it's one of those things that I thought, they always say you can't do that to John Cena because he's a company guy and all the make-a-wishes and everything, but realistically, I'd say probably 80 to 90% of John Cena fans are now my age.
Yeah.
Like they've grown up with John Cena. The 2008, 2009, 2010, the main John Cena run, even up to probably 2013. Say you were 7, 8 years old there. At worst, you're 19, 20 now. You understand. If you're still catching up with wrestling now, you understand why that's happened. You like the cool heels now when you're 17, 18, 19. So it's a perfect time for John Cena to do it. If he really wanted to do it in his career. We've always said that the ship sailed, but here we go, and I'm excited. He's clearly pushed for this. He's clearly gone. I've got 9 months left in my career. But give it a bash and see how it goes.
For me, it was a proper torch passing moment, because obviously, as you say there, Cena's been the biggest face the company's had since Hogan. He does all the Make-A-Wish stuff. He's the company man through and through, and that's where they're building Cody to be. They're building Cody to be that guy, and what better way to signify that by having his predecessor kick him square in the dick, and just completely and literally kick his cock into that new sphere for them. And I think it's pretty much kiboshing any chances we were getting of a Cody heel turn anytime soon as well. Because I think the again, I don't know how much planning went into all of this, like how far back in the pipeline it all was. But to me, with the Cody and KO feud, and then leading in with the Punk promo, when Punk was saying about the belts becoming a burden, all that sort of stuff, I thought this is us leading to a Cody heel turn at some point. But I think that's been fully put in the back burner now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. The thing with Cody is you always need. That's the thing that's probably been missing over the last 2, 3, 10 years has been that main guy, that can go on the Today Show, that can go on CBBC, that can go here, that can go there, and just spread the word. You always need that focal point, whether it's and it can't be a heel, for just the logistics of everything to do with promotion. You can't have a heel. You couldn't have, for example, someone like a heel Roman Reigns or a heel Randy Orton or a heel Chris Jericho over the last 10, 20 years going on these shows and that, just because they make it far too kayfabe, like it needs to be a mix where you can just speak about the brand freely, and Cody Rhodes is that guy, and I would put my house on that Cody Rhodes won't turn heel until there's a babyface star as big as him. So it could be years.
Yeah, it's true. And we were talking about as well the kind of pop culture impact that it's had. Like I've never seen anything wrestling related that had like a pop culture impact in this. Like the amount of Twitter handles that I was seeing covering this and referencing this was huge, and like Lad Bible had it as one of their leading tweets on Sunday morning, like a headline tweet, almost like it was like a big international news item. Have you ever seen a time when there was this much kind of pop culture impact for like a wrestling thing? And what I mean is not anything like the real life stuff that like Vince McMahon. I'm talking about like something that happened in
kayfabe, This is probably the biggest thing to happen in sport in 2025. I think you could genuinely go that far and say it's the biggest like on field, in ring thing that's happened. Like fuck the Super Bowl that happens every year. Fuck the Premier League results where Arsenal beat Man City and Liverpool beat bloody da da, and that's you don't have wrestling fans talking about who aren't football fans talking about Rangers beating Celtic. You don't have basketball fans talking about the Super Bowl and really being that vocal about it, But you've got volleyball fans telling their pals, "Oh, see that John Cena guy did in the thingy? He's a bad guy now." Things like that. I've had probably
Sky Sports News even covered it.
Exactly, and I've had probably 4 or 5 pals who wouldn't watch a Monday Night Raw, wouldn't even watch a WrestleMania, telling me I can't believe John Cena did that.
It was a viral moment, and like it was almost, it gave me like memories like Jesus Christ, this is like this reminds me of like the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. Think how many weeks people were talking about that for. Like this is like the wrestling equivalent of it, and it's became that big. I actually think heel turn is now going to enter the everyday lexicon.
It'll be in the dictionary.
It could be a candidate for word of the year coming the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It could have that kind of significant cultural impact as well. But I'm just thinking when you're saying, is it the biggest kind of crossover moment?
Mm-hmm.
It's the biggest one in a month since I Show Speed get speared out his pants. And again, like that's what it is for these moments that they're putting together in this Triple H regime. They're wise with it because they are doing it in a way that is guaranteed to bring other eyes onto it because of other people that are involved. So as I say, I Show Speed at the Rumble, the Bad Bunny stuff over last year. When he's the most streamed guy in Spotify, getting him involved. Logan Paul speaks for itself, and then Travis Scott just rolling blunts in the corner while all of this is going on, probably oblivious to everything until he starts bursting Cody's eardrum after it. And it's like that's the intelligence of it is that for all of these big moments, there's something or somebody out with the main wrestling sphere that's kind of lingering there to bring it into the mainstream.
And it's not to the detriment of the show. That's how clever it is. That's how wise they've been. This is you think at WCW. Let's bring David Arquette in. Let's bring fucking Beetlejuice in. Let's bring all these massive like pop culture celebrities at the time. Even bringing in somebody like Lawrence Taylor to main event WrestleMania with Bam Bam. It's like it is to the detriment of the show. That's looking back on it 20, 30 years later. It's maybe it created a boom, but that drop off after that, and how I don't know how kind of pantomime it made the show. Is the that's the yin and yang of it. But now
Tyson was the exception. Tyson
yeah,
from
exactly,
WrestleMania
yeah,
14, because that helped kind of bring some
exactly. I know.
mainstream eyes back onto it.
Yeah,
Even
like
Butterbean with the.
mhm.
I was going to say King of the Ring. It's not King of the Ring.
The Brawl for All thing.
Not
Brawl
for
for
all.
All. Yeah.
Aye.
But yeah,
No,
you think in the last 10, 15 years of the detriment that it's had of, sort of people like Snooki and
Aye, it was
Kevin.
that push that they did in like 08, 09 when they had a celebrity presenting Raw every
yeah,
week. That was
exactly,
the time I
all
went
that.
off it, because I was sick of this when they had like fannies like Snoop Dogg and Kid Rock guest
know.
hosting it every week, and then all they would do was just try and shut up Trish Stratus or whatever.
Jeremy Piven coming on to promote
Aye.
Summerfest.
Summerfest. And the point of that was Jeff Harvey and everything.
Jeff,
Coming to the ring, Jeff Hardy.
Mike
But
Adamle.
I don't know.
Fair props to
hopefully he
Mike
listens.
Adamle.
That's a deep cut. But yeah, those things, like I'm saying, it's totally, it brings the eyes, but it's just like a side show to the main show. But I show speed, like the sort of respect that these people coming in, Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, I show speed have for the business, and using the celebrities who are wrestlers now, i.e. Batista, The Rock, John Cena, and everything, to do their bit, but they can bridge the gap as well. They're doing it in a clever way that is, like you're saying, it's not taking the piss out of wrestling. It's only enhancing the show and bringing more eyes to it. So yeah, there's another boom. Like we didn't think it, but here's the second boom.
And the thing is, as well, like they've got their fingers on the pulse with it as well, because Drake was in the crowd at Elimination Chamber, and they never acknowledged them. And that's got to be because
they didn't want to embarrass him with the whole crowd going A minor.
Aye, because the whole Kendrick Lamar thing, and even Kendrick Lamar, I'm the whitest guy in the world, but I've been enjoying Not Like Us for the last wee while. But in that, he's singing about, what is it, Sweet Chin Music, Don't Give Me the Ox.
Aye.
And it's that kind of thing it is creeping in more and more into pop culture stuff, and these kind of, and as you were saying, Steve, the impact that the heel turn and the Bob booting has had is significant, as seismic.
And of course, like, being on Netflix also helps immensely as well.
Yeah,
because it's a guaranteed tens of millions of views every week. So, it's the best time ever for them to pull some big name celebrities into it as well. I think WrestleMania. You mentioned Kendrick there, Chris. I wouldn't be shocked if he shows up at WrestleMania.
Well, I was reading earlier on, apparently AEW have made moves to bring him in for some, or they had lobbied for it to bring him into the All Elite family at some point.
You'll sing Swerve to the Ring. That's just like the most like right in front of your face.
Oh, like his Revolution's at LA. So, aye.
That'd be good.
Yeah, aye.
Again,
and it's at crypto.com, which is the Lakers venue.
Oh, interesting. The other thing I was going to say there on that is, you mentioned there about being on Netflix and whatnot, and obviously they can take a wee bit more liberty with what they're doing. The heel turn has almost overshadowed Cody telling The Rock to go fuck himself.
Yeah.
And even the fact that when WWE have been sharing out those clips, not been bleeping it, not been censoring it, it's been as it was, and that to me that indicates a big shift as well, in terms of they're not scared of getting cancelled off any networks. They can be a bit more free and easy with it, and it's just like it was a shock. Like see if the heel turn hadn't happened, and that was the kind of the final moment of Elimination Chamber, that's what everybody would be talking about, and quite rightly so, because it's for a TV show and an organisation that is predominantly aimed still at kids. I mean, don't get us wrong, 20s, 30s, and almost 40s here. And we're talking about it, but as you know, it's a kids' market, it's a kids' thing. For them to really embrace the fuck bomb is pretty big as well.
The rage stage in the corner as well is just like bringing you into like a totally different, realm of what's going on now. Like the first time Travis Scott was in the crowd with Juice and smoking his blunt, it was like you're expecting him to fully go backstage and get his arse handed to him by Triple H. Just like, what the fuck are you doing? Next time he's actually just freely rolling it in the corner. That one's out. Let's just get another one out of his pocket. Go again. Like Pat McAfee and everyone like referring to it and everything. We got the F-bombs. We got the rage stage.
He was kind of saying, well, I'm in Canada and it's legal here.
Well, that's it. And it's the only reason they're getting away with it is because it is legal there. Was it? Canada, Colorado, and LA. I think it's legal, isn't it?
I think in Texas now.
Aye.
Not many things legal in Texas, to be fair.
It's weird because it's actually the conservative states that is legalising it now. So it's safe to say that the John Cena heel turn is our front page. It was never likely to be anything else. And a headline for it, and it's the easiest open goal I've ever had whenever I've been presenting. Our headline will be, "Who Cena that coming?"
Good one. I approve.
You would have never thought you'd say that, Like, after whatever, 100 videos we've put out or whatever over the last 2-3 years or something, you would have never thought one of the breaking news stories headlines would have been John Cena heel turn.
Yeah. No way.
I'd seen there's a troll account that's been getting a lot of traction this week. It's pretending to be Wrestle Votes on Twitter. It's Wrestle Votes, and the one today was that Cena's going to shave his head and be fully bald for the remainder of this because bald people are pricks. Is essentially what it is.
I've seen another one as well that was like Roman Reigns officially declares for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah, because that's another thing. Like, what is Roman's role going to be at Mania now?
It's got to be like I know we're banging on and it's the middle of the night here, but it's 3, 2, 1. What the Rock did, he's done his 3, he's done his 2. There's his 1.
Cardona, Cardona coming back to seemingly get revenge on Cena, but actually go after Cody because Cody
he's going to do that one next and go after the full Rangers backroom staff. But Barry Ferguson in the main event of WrestleMania. But I think
Ferguson against the toilet wall. I don't know if he's seen that story about how he used to get himself up for the Old Firm games. He used to fuck out the toilets at Ibrox.
He used to just stare at himself in the mirror and be like, "You're getting it." But there was one like I'm thinking.
He beat Jose Mourinho, didn't he?
Fair play. 5-1 if you count the offside goals. I'm sure some Rangers fans will. But it's just the thing is as well. It's got to be. He thinks Roman's going to align with him, and Roman goes, "Nah, not on my watch." And then there you are. Maybe that's some hopeful booking because I'm there and I don't want to see Roman Reigns in a meaningless triple threat match. But yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
I think that I like your train of thought in the 3-2-1. And if you're looking at it from the point of view it's Rock and it's Cena, then your last one has to be Hogan. It's got to be Hogan.
That's what I was thinking, actually.
Just think the heat that would generate if the third man was Hogan, just coming out and hobbling into a big leg drop in his NWO gear.
I genuinely think that would kill wrestling.
And Cody is black, so he's got plenty of reason to hate him.
Yes.
Yep, that's true as well.
We'll get there.
Next up is our back pages, and Lewis, I'll come to you for this. What was your pick of the Graps bunch this week?
It was a weird one. Like, I'm not going to talk about that the outcome because I think they could have gone another way. But it's probably one of the best women's matches there's been on WWE television for a long time. You know, you never really get a terrible match out of Rhea Ripley, and you never really get a bad match out of Io Sky either. So obviously it was the main event of Raw. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley for the World Heavyweight Championship, and there was a lot of shenanigans in the middle of it with Bianca Belair getting involved. You know, Rhea Ripley kind of playing to her at the announce table. There was kickouts of finishers and everything. You know, it was a classic pay-per-view PLE style match where people are kicking out of finishers. You know, there's near falls, there's high spots. It's not just a classic Raw match. And the finish came where Rhea Ripley went for a top rope riptide, countered into a Hurricane Run off the top rope. Io Sky hits her moonsault, wins the belt. It was the best match I've watched, and it leads us nicely into a triple threat at WrestleMania. However, I feel like the low-hanging fruit was just Bianca Belair getting too close to that action, getting involved in a brawl between the three of them. You know, just gives Io Sky another rematch because obviously it's not her fault what happened. And it would have kept Rhea strong, you know, only lost maybe 2 times in the last couple of years. So the fact that Io Sky is now the champion, it leads us into WrestleMania nicely, but who wins? You know, you've just crowned a new champion. 4 weeks later, you don't really want to be crowning someone else. But yeah, it was a 4.5 star match, and yeah, something we don't often see women in the main event. So yeah, 5 stars all around for me.
It was certainly a tremendous match. I gotta be honest, and with a week of shocks, like I did not see Io Sky becoming the new champion, especially on a post pay-per-view Raw. Gotta say, I don't really see the logic in making it a triple threat. If I'm entirely honest, like, don't be wrong, maybe they're 3 best women's wrestlers, but when you've got this sort of Bianca's main storyline should be what was going on with Jade Cargill.
Yeah,
because we all think it's her that did it, and it's meant to be setting up a heel turn. So I'm kind of scratching my head. Why is she going into then a triple threat title match? Obviously she won the chamber, so of course that makes her the number 1 contender, etc. But with that going on, why is she going in with this triple threat title match? Is Jade going to come out and cost her it? I mean, you know, where's this all leading to?
I think it was just it was as simple as going. Liv Morgan wins the Elimination Chamber because she deserves it, because the body of work she's put in over the last maybe 24 months deserves her of a big WrestleMania match. And a triple threat between Rhea, Io, and Liv Morgan is something we've not seen. You know, it's having Liv versus Rhea would have been more than overkill. But adding Io Sky to that and just having a banger match allows you to have another set of women on the card with Bianca and Jade, which is obviously not going to happen. And Jade versus Naomi isn't a big enough match to have on WrestleMania. So it's going to leave Jade Cargill off her first WrestleMania when she deserves it. You know, it's like you said, it's a total head scratcher, and I don't know why they've done this. If it just comes to the fact that Jade Cargill is going to come out and, you know, cost Bianca, which allows Io Sky to retain or Rhea Ripley to, you know, reclaim the belt, then that's probably what's going to happen. And maybe they don't trust Jade Cargill yet in a main match at WrestleMania. Maybe it's that, you know, she's only been in the WWE for about nearly a year, is it?
Just after Mania, wasn't it?
Yeah. So whether they don't trust her yet of a big match, maybe she's not fully fit. Who knows? But yeah, that was the low hanging fruit to do, and there must be some reason they've not done it.
Yeah. I mean, we talked there about the pop culture significance and the crossover and stuff. A girl that I work with, that she knows that I'm into the wrestling and whatnot. She was really excited to tell me that for some reason Rhea Ripley was all over the Instagram feed, and she's now a big Rhea Ripley fan as a result of it. So I was like, brilliant, Colleen, that's class. Now I've got something that I can kind of talk to her about. And even at the start of the week, she was like, "Oh, did you see Cena?" And so it's breaking through into that kind of realm as well, not just through Cena, but Rhea, and I'd imagine there's a whole host of people, even and again pandering to you here, Steve, but the amount of them, the wrestling guys wearing Celtic tops at the minute. Sheamus was pictured with the brand new £90 white T-shirt that you've brought out. Sami Zayn with his.
Peter Law's annual. We need more for the transfer kitty for next season. Fucking top. I know. I mean, that was Celtic that actually set that up. So there's more proof of it. Celtic reaching out to WWE and saying, "Hi, can we borrow Sheamus so we can put on a new kit to our supporters," kind of thing. So yeah, there's another show how big it is culturally. And obviously Drew with Rangers, the amount of stuff that he's done with them.
Yep.
Like I said, it was a good match. Again, the booking and doing it this close to Mania just scratches my head a wee bit, and I hope that I'm going to trust Triple H knows what he's doing with this one. I just don't know. The other thing is like logically, if we're thinking about it logically, Bianca's turning heel here, isn't she? Does she suit being a heel?
Someone's got to be a heel, don't they? We'll see. They've tried the Street Profits. It's quite a similar, not just because they're obviously together or whatever, but you don't want to boo Montez Ford. They've tried that with the Street Profits. They're trying it again. Maybe they'll follow the same thing of they failed with a couple of heel turns with massively popular people. John Cena, if they can make him a heel, they can make Bianca Belair a heel.
I mean, but Bianca would need to change a lot about her appearance and her wrestling style, because she's got very much a baby face, move face. Yeah, so there would need to be a lot of changes made there. But
just needs to keep whipping bitches with that hair.
Like
that's a weapon.
Come to think of it, she was a heel in NXT, wasn't she?
I mean that bitch is in the most respectful manner as well. I'm not being misogynistic. Just the way that she was setting about Liv in the chamber match, where the hair was incredible.
Well, that was brutal.
It's just the noise of it.
Aye.
You see the state of Liv after that match as well. She bruises everywhere, and the whip mark across the chest and that. Christ, wouldn't he want to be her boyfriend out in public for the next few weeks anyway, put it that way.
No, you definitely want to get whipped by Liv Morgan. Chris, what would you say was your favourite match of the week?
I want to give a special mention to Gunther versus Otis from Raw. I thought that was
really good, actually.
I thought it was really well done. There was the very beginning of it gave me a bit of PTSD when Gunther was on the mic, and then he just turned and booted Otis in the face like out of nowhere kind of thing. I accidentally stiffed a boy at training one time. Doing that kind of thing. We were doing it was a match we had to call on the fly, so there was no pre-planning going into it. And I had never, I don't think I would ever hit a super kick as sweet as what I hit on this one. And unfortunately, I knocked him a bit loopy. And that was the beginning of the end of my time as a wrestler, because of
strong style, mate. Strong style.
The ramifications that accidentally stiffen a guy. So that kind of resonated with me. But it was another very stiff match that I'm going to nominate as my back page, and that was KO v Sammy from Elimination Chamber. The two of those guys in the ring at the same time, whether they're in a team or against each other, they can just do no wrong. Their chemistry is unreal. The trust that they put in each other, they look after each other, is incredible as well. And because they have got that longevity of friendship, they're not afraid to just knock seven bells at each other. I loved every bit of it. I know that they couldn't go as far as the Steen Generico absolute riot that one was back in
the Ring
back
of
in the
Honor
day.
one from 2010 or whatever.
But for a WWE match, and again, I don't know if it's just the AEW fan in me, but the only thing that I was disappointed in was there was little to no blood in it for a match that was so violent. In terms of getting dropped through chairs, getting put through tables, everything that went on in it, the barbed wire chair as well. I was a bit shocked there was no blood, but then when Cody eventually started bleeding after the chamber, I was like, that's probably why they've saved it for that. Whereas with AEW Revolution coming up at the weekend, everybody's going to be bleeding in every match in that, I'd imagine. But the story that they were telling, it's almost a parallel. Like Kevin Owens' character just now is almost a parallel with what MJF's doing, where everything, every heelish thing he's been doing has been with a good reason behind it. We've seen that in the Cody feud. We've seen it in the Sammy feud. KO's really just upset because Sammy was allied himself with Roman, and he knows the hurt that Roman had caused to KO over the years and stuff as well. But it just didn't stop him from being brutal, and wanting to kill him. When he started exposing the concrete towards after the match, and he was going to power bomb him on that. And before Randy Orton came out and stopped it, it's those layers that he puts in, and I think Sammy plays that character really well. They put upon best friend, doesn't he really want to be fighting his mate as bad as this. The selling from him throughout it was great. I think I'd say 90% of that. The way he looked fatigued and the way that he was responding to all the big moves, 90% of that is just him being an amazing pro wrestler, and 10% of it is probably because it's during Ramadan and he was probably very, very hungry to be going at it to such an extent. But just the whole match was class, and even the cooperation in the face of hatred when all the officials had came out and KO went to powerbomb Sammy, but he couldn't get him up properly. And Sammy's instincts kicked in to fight back before KO managed to hit it. I just thought that was a really nice wrinkle in the match. And I just think the two, in my eyes, the two of them can do no wrong. So that's why I'm nominating that for my back page.
Yeah, I think for me it's the best match of the year so far. I think you've the drama of it, the emotion, the way it was structured as well. I mean, it got to the point where it didn't even feel like a wrestling match anymore. It was like watching like it was like something like I seen it in a movie or something. You ever seen that movie Brothers? Jake Gyllenhaal and Tobey Maguire.
I'm thinking Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
It was came out about 10, 12 years ago. There's a famous scene in it where Tobey Maguire has this like nervous breakdown, and it goes on for like 10 minutes. It reminded me a wee bit of that because of the performance that Kevin and Sammy just put in just blew my mind. And I wish WWE did more of this stuff, but then again, who else on the roster could pull off something like that other than those two?
Yeah, it's just it's just a chemistry thing. They fought each other so much over the years, and they just work so well together. You know, like Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat. It's that kind of, you know, they just mesh so well with each other. Even Cena Punk to an extent as well. You know, they know how to get the best out of each other, and I just really enjoyed it.
Good. Like probably Swerve Hangman's the other one. Like in recent times, Kenny Omega in the Bucks, and probably Okada as well. Like it's the you know you work so well for so long with each other that you can do no wrong. It was beautifully done. Part of me feels sorry for Randy Orton because first of all, he had to somehow find a way to like overshadow that match, and you know he does get a great pop and all that. But of course, then the Cena heel turns happened, and we walk away even forgetting that he was even there. And this happened to him again. Remember, the last time he came back was the Punk return. He was completely overshadowed like that. So poor Randy Orton can't catch a break.
But I suppose you need to look at it in that him coming back has stopped it being KO v Sammy at WrestleMania. So
I do like on that point. I do think they've done it. I think they've gone. They've should have gone the other way. This should have been KO versus Randy, and
Sammy coming out to stop.
KO going to put Randy on his head, you know, on that bad neck, and Sammy comes out, and there's your match for WrestleMania. And the match we had tonight happens at WrestleMania.
No, I agree.
Because a Randy KO match is going to be good. We'll probably get the punt, but I know that sort of thing could have happened at Elimination Chamber.
But again, would you put an unsanctioned match on Mania? Would you have something as violent that
the
on
fact it was Canada as well?
Yeah,
like
potentially, but
you know,
I think
that thinking fuck WrestleMania tonight is WrestleMania.
I think the final story of that thing could have probably been KO Sammy though, but we're getting both matches, whether it's on an indie show in fucking Arkansas or WrestleMania. At least we got to see both matches, and we'll get to see them at some point in the future again.
Yeah, I think I'll go. The pick for me has to be Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. I'm not going to go any snappy headlines. I'm just going to say, just fucking watch it because it was just beautiful wrestling, beautiful TV as well. Moving on, we normally do our TV pages where we kind of the normal service would be we would try and promote something that's wrestling related but not actually wrestling. But we're not going to do that. We're going to preview AEW Revolution, which is Sunday night, live from Los Angeles. Very quickly though, lads, do either of you have anything that you maybe want to maybe promote and maybe give a shout out to that people should check out?
Something wrestling related, but not necessarily wrestling.
I've got some.
Sorry. Going back a few months, I finally plucked up the courage to watch the end of Ricky Stenicki last week, and it's fucking dreadful. I know I was pretty scathing with my review of it whenever we talked about it last time, but that I hadn't even watched the whole thing at that point because I had to turn it off because it was so bad. But I was going through my Amazon watch list, and it was saying there was still 25 minutes left. So I put it on. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. And
what's the other one Cena did recently? The woman that wins the lottery and 1,000 people come chasing after her. I heard that was garbage as well.
Like that, he is doing the Rock thing where he's not. I don't even think he's reading scripts. It's just like, Amazon Prime, we've got a film. They need a big meathead in it. Do you want to be in it? Aye, why not? But like, because even like, was it the Rumble? When he was in the Rumble, he was getting on. He's in the ring. He was getting on like he was performing at a community centre on a Saturday afternoon. Even in the aftermath of the Chamber the other night, that he was just mugging for the camera all the time, and he's just not a good actor. And I don't think the script in Nicky Sticky helped at all. But like it's just a dreadful film. I don't think that like he's best when he's not a lead. He was in that film with Amy Schumer, where somebody was
Trainwreck.
Cock blockers is the exception. He's very good in that. Very good in that.
And Suicide Squad is Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, the show, Peacemaker's class as well. But just like Vicky Stanicky, dreadful film. Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
That was his original heel turn anyway. That was the sort of trial run as John Cena being a heel, just fucking burning our eyeballs.
But
yeah, that's the only thing that I can think of, Steve.
Something I'll give a shout out to is about, because I only got around to watching it now, Simon Miller of himself a well-established wrestler now, and
the Pro-TS champion.
Yes, the only good presenter on What Culture Wrestling. He did
shots fired, mate. Shots fired.
I'm coming for you, Adam Wilburn, you prick. He did a really good video where he named all the best, he named the best storyline each year of wrestling since 1989, and it was really, really good and well done. The picks he got were just spot on, and it reminded me of like stuff that I've totally forgot had happened, and I really want to go back and watch stuff like Raven versus Tommy Dreamer from ECW in 1996. Stuff like that. It's like, I wish the network was still running in a way, so that I can go back and watch that stuff. So I would check that out. But that's for another time. We're here to preview and break down AEW Revolution. Have you both had a chance to check out the card? Because I just did it before we coming on. I knew it was a stacked card.
I'll refresh my brain
now. Then I reread it. I'm like, holy shit, this thing's packed.
It's a typical AEW thing. They're just putting as much on it as possible. So looking at it just now, I'll go from the bottom up. So you've got on the pre-show, or on the thing I'm looking at anyway, on the pre-show, you've got the conglomeration plus Big Boom AJ against Mansoor, Mason Madden, and Johnny TV.
Jesus, I forgot about him.
Yep. And then on the main card, you've got Mercedes Moné versus Momo Watanabe. You've got the Hurt Syndicate against the Outrunners for the Tag Team Championship. Okada versus Brody King for the Continental Championship. Swerve v Ricochet for the number one contender. MJF v Hangman Page to become the sweetheart of the AEW fandom. Ospreay v Fletcher in a cage. Takeshita v Omega for the International Championship. It's part of the International Championship Series, which is something I have no clue about. Is this like number 2 or 3?
This is just the end of it, that's all.
Right, okay. Tony Storm against Mariah May, and then Moxley v Colt as what I'm assuming is going to be the main for the World Championship on there.
Short card, that's Pep.
Yep, it's going to be a long one.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've no doubt there'll be some quality matches. There always is with AEW pay-per-views, but that again, it's too long. I wish they'd stop doing this. Just there's at least 2 matches there that don't need to be there. The tag title match, take that out, fuck's sake. Just put that on the next Dynamite. Give it a bit of breathing space.
I think the Mercedes Moné matches they need to actually build her up against credible AEW women. Like they kind of draft in a lot of Japanese you know,
I was
wrestlers
saying
from
this to
different
Chris before we came out though. I'm sure I remember reading something. Technically, she still has a contract with New Japan, or the company that New Japan owns, or owns New Japan rather. Apparently, in order to share her, she not only does she do the odd New Japan show,
Yeah.
New Japan also asked AEW, can you promote some of the girls we've got in Stardom with Mercedes on pay-per-view? Apparently, that's
But we just know
something.
she's not going to lose. You know,
I
that's what
know
just makes it
it's
a
that's what I'm
lot.
saying. Like, why waste time? Why waste 8 or 9 minutes with a match
I
that
know,
everybody knows she's
and
winning?
she's personally like maybe I've not seen enough of her recently, but I'm not totally enthralled by her matches. You know, I don't think that's by seeing her on my TV. It's not at least we're getting a Mercedes Moné match. Like I don't
I
necessarily
know.
feel that way. It's like you might do that with somebody like Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay or that. Even if it wasn't it was a kind of meaningless match where you knew what was going to be the outcome. At least you're getting a 5-star match. You know what I mean? I wish. You never know, though. You never know. Maybe I'm selling her short. Maybe she'll put on a match
I
that's
know, like,
well remembered.
but I want to see her against Julia Hart. I want to see her against. I want to see Harley Carmen and beat her. That's what I want to see because she's a massive fan favorite just now, and they did really well with her at the Grand Slam in Australia, and she's got a bit of momentum. Ride that again, give her the rematch, and put her over this time. That's what I want
I
to see.
think they just need to build her portfolio as a wrestler, really, don't they?
Yeah, I was saying to Steve before we came on. I think she's got about as big a cage match page as I have. And she needs to get more reps in, and just build up. Kind of like how they did Orange Cassidy. They need to give her the Orange
Jade
Cassidy
Cargill.
treatment.
Give it like they were smart with Jade Cargill. They kept her to short matches, mostly pre-taped as well, and it worked.
I think though, like Cargill's a very different prospect to what Harley Cameron is. Harley is
The
very much
personality's there.
the personality, the
Talent on
comedy
the mic
around her, and that was the big stigma that was around Orange Cassidy. He was a one-trick pony. How can you make him into a credible threat? It's the same kind of build that they need to do with Harley Cameron to get her to that level where, this time next year, have her go up against Mercedes for the championship and put her over. Or not. In fact, she should. To be honest, if you're putting her over Mercedes Money, you don't need the championship in order to do that. A win over somebody like that is enough to make her.
Build up her and Mariah May for a year because that's a perfect foil when you've got the mean girl against the girl next door, the funny girl kind of feud.
Aye, no, there's a lot of upside to Harley Cameron beyond how she looks. Like, she's great in the mic. She's got a unique personality, and she's got that fire in her as well. There's three things that are going to make you want to do it further, just like Orange Cassidy.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think is going to be the best match?
Best match in that card, for me, I think Swerve v Ricochet. I think is going to be the one. They've got the stakes in it for number one contender. They've got they've built the violence into it with the scissors. Taking that away from the acclaimed and actually making it real scissors that they're stabbing each other with is a good thing. And I know that's centering around the what do you call it, the robe, Prince Nana's robe as well. So you've got that factored in, and I think we're going to see a flippy shit match, but there's going to be that edge of violence to it, like edge of extra violence because it's Swerve. And I think that's going to be the standout on it. I think as well, like, is this the third time that we've had Ospreay v Fletcher in the last wee while? Because they were in the C2 together, weren't they?
Yeah, they had the semi-final
C2, and then they were in Grand Slam. they're not against each other at Grand Slam as well. Or am I thinking?
That was before that
match.
Oh, that was the tag. It was Omega, and yeah. So I think that's good. That's got show stealer that and all of it. That's a 5-star Meltzer match straight away. With it being in the cage, there's going to be that extra element of peril in there. But as I was saying earlier on, where there was a lack of blood in the unsanctioned Kevin and Sammy match, I think there's going to be a lot of blood on this card. I mean, just looking at it there,
Moxley.
through there, Moxley's going to bleed. Swerve and Ricochet are going to bleed. One of,
Hangman.
if not both, MJF and Hangman are going to bleed. There's likely to be blood off Kyle
Blood
Fletcher.
and fire. It's going to be
Tony Storm and Mariah May.
Aye.
Possibly.
So, yep. And Moxley v Cope is, it'll be good not to have Moxley bleed in that one. Yeah. I think that the most interesting match on there that could be a bit of a show stealer is the Okada Brody King match. You know, you strong style all the way, and I think it could go a long way to building Brody King even higher after the dissolution of the House of Black. I think this could be a real statement-making match for him if he was to get the win over Okada in it. I think both of their styles are going to mesh pretty well. And
it's unusual. It'll be unusual to see Okada up against a bigger guy.
Yeah, I think that's the intrigue of it. And I was watching. I think you should leave the Tim Robinson thing on Netflix. And the sketch with Brody King in it just constantly makes me laugh, and I think there's so much more they can be doing with him. He's a guy that should be getting pushed to the moon in 2025, and I think this would be a good jumping off point for that.
He's one of those guys. Like, see if you were introducing your pal to AEW for the first time, you look at him and goes, "What the fuck? Why is he not the champ?"
Aye, it's the airport test that they always talk about in WWE. You see that guy going through the airport, and you're like, "Who the fuck is he? Why do I think he's going to battle me if I look at him?"
Is this what's the equivalent to Revolution in WWE?
See,
importance level.
See, they don't have All In is their WrestleMania because that's at a stadium.
Yeah. What was the original 4? That it was All In, All Out,
All In, All Out, Double or Nothing. Full Gear and Revolution. So Revolution, I guess, is the
one of your kind of big 4.
Yeah,
big 5.
I'm looking at it thinking this is. I can't remember another one in the last few years, the last couple of years maybe, that's had this many show stealers. There is arguably 7 matches, maybe obviously discounting potentially the Lashley and Shelton and the Outrunners,
the Turbo Chuggers,
that match, and obviously potentially Mercedes Moné in terms of importance. Like, there's 6 or 7 matches where you're like, that could main event and that could be a 5-star match, and why are they all getting done now? You know,
that's my point. Like, I mean, I'm very grateful that great, a good 4-hour wrestling pay-per-view when I'm guaranteed 3, 4, maybe even 5-star level matches. The thing is, I don't need to see them all at once. I would be perfectly happy to wait and see Brody King versus Okada, or Mariah May versus Tony Storm. You know, I wish we complained to WWE for their PLE's been too short and only having 4 matches. With AEW, there's way too much. With WWE, it's less is more. With AEW, it seems to be more is more.
A 7 would be perfect, and
I've always said that 7. Should be an absolute maximum for a PLE.
You have 2. You get your break. You have 2. You get your break. You have 2. You get your break. You get your main event.
You have your 4. You have your 4 marquee matches and your 3 wee in between matches. Your kind of tag, your 6-man tag kind of things.
Even if I know that Collision's not the greatest at the best of times, But see, in your run up to your pay-per-view, you load the Dynamite with so if I'm looking at that card here, your go home show, you have in-ring segments or like talking bits with Hangman and MJF, Moxley and Cope, and Mariah May and Tony Storm. But on that Dynamite, your matches are top tier. So you'd have Okada v Brody King on that Dynamite. You'd have your tag team championship match on that Dynamite. You'd have Mercedes on the that as well, and then your the matches that are actually on the peep are Moxley, Cope, Takeshita, Omega, Fletcher, and Ospreay. In fact, I would maybe even have Ospreay and Fletcher on the Dynamite if it wasn't in the steel cage. You split it that way so that you've got a better lead in to the pay per view. You give away some potentially great matches for free, and then the ones that you know that are going to be the 5-star ones that don't throw a dime if you're Bubba Dudley. Those are the ones you put on the pay per view.
And now they've got the stream. They're streaming on Max now. They've got a larger audience, so.
And with this being on,
keep a marquee match for Dynamite every week.
Mm-hmm. We've not touched on there as well the fact that the Evolution is going to be on Amazon Prime, so that's it, expanding to the biggest audience worldwide that they've ever had, and I think it's a really, really good move that they've managed to get the pay per views on. See how quickly that kind of thing comes into your language. You don't talk about pay per views anymore. It's PLEs is the first thing you think of. But the fact that it's on Amazon, second biggest streamer in the world, is a good business move. And you've got to think that if that does well in the foreign markets, then there's maybe an opportunity there when their contract with Fight or whatever comes up. It moves over onto Prime as well.
Yeah, because I think Prime all looked at WWE and Netflix saying we need something to compete with that, and it just makes sense that they would grab onto AEW. Maybe they're doing this as a test, or maybe they've got in contact with Tony Khan and said we're interested in doing business, but we just want to test the waters first. So how about we sell this as a pay-per-view, see what the numbers are, and then if we're like where we're at, we'll come to the negotiating table to do something more long-term. So, yeah, it's exciting times, and let's hope that it leads to something big. One I want to talk about is Takeshita versus Omega, because I think we're seeing the inroads here. I think I'm predicting Omega wins the international title. That would, first of all, make him the first Grand Slam champion in AEW history. And second of all, it's obvious that they're going to do him in Okada further down the future. I even think they could be saving it for All In. I think Okada keeps the Continental title, and they do a champion versus champion match at All In, because All In, I think, is August. It's still a long way away, but
that's the Texas one, isn't it?
Yeah, because they need something big to sell that, because it's in a big. I think it is the Cowboy Stadium, which is huge. Yeah. It's like 90,000 or something like that. So they need something big. So it's surely Okada versus Omega and champion versus champion. That's a big headline grabber.
So they will unify it.
Yeah, I think they need to. I think there's too many titles there, and I think I like the Continental Classic, but it's weird how one of the single championships leads into that. So why not merge the Continental and the International title, and maybe make the Continental Classic the Royal Rumble equivalent? Make that the winner of that gets a title match whenever he wants, something like that, or any one of the pay-per-views that he chooses, something like that. Make that something more worthy and not give him a title that's already there. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I think merge the two titles, make it Okada versus Omega, hype it as this is going to be the greatest wrestling match of all time, because it is one of the matches that guarantees that they can live up to that bill. The other thing I want to ask, sorry.
No, just because I think that's a good point. You know, the super indie draw of Omega via Okada is a big thing, and I think unifying those titles in that manner is a good thing. And to be honest, that's probably going to be. You hope it's not, but that's probably going to be Omega's last big title win if you do that, because I think
so.
His health issues aren't something to be sniffed at. I know he's coming back from it and whatnot, but you've got to think that even headlining that Texas show with that match, that's got to be the beginning of the end in quite a big way, I think.
Yeah, I think it gives him, because if he's not got much left in him, and about a diverticulitis is not going to, it shortens your life for fuck's sake, never mind your wrestling career. So they need to, why the opportunity still there, do something big that we could always say at least they got a happy ending kind of thing, like with Danielson last year, that he got the opportunity to go out on a high. The other thing I need to ask about is this main event, Cope versus Moxley. I love John Moxley, I love Adam Copeland, but I do not want them. I don't want to see them main event pay-per-views anymore, especially not against each other, because Copeland Edge is still Edge to me. Let's be honest. Love him to death, one of the all-time greats, but he's 51 years old and he's got a neck that's more brittle than the what do you call it? The Solaire, the ice lolly that I've kept
CM Punk's ego.
That I've kept in my freezer since 2 summers ago. He cannot be AEW champion. I'm sorry. Have him as a trios champ with FTR. That I'd be happy with, but not the AEW singles champion.
He's going to win.
Well, hold on, I'm coming to it. Moxley can't carry this title anymore. So, and coming into this, I was certain, right, it's obviously going to happen here. They're going to batter the shit to each other. They're both going to be on the ground, fucking barely alive. And who's going to come out? Christian Cage is going to pop up and cash in with this contract he's got. The thing is, I've been thrown off by Ricochet versus Swerve being a number 1 contenders match, because I'm going, hang on. That would mean, okay, Swerve's winning that match. Swerve versus Christian Cage again at Double or Nothing. We had that last year. So that doesn't really make sense, which makes me think, I think Moxley's retaining and they're setting up Swerve versus Moxley. But what's your prediction on that one?
From looking at it my way, I think that it's Moxley's running this title into not even one of the main acts on the show of what's happening.
It's the least exciting aspect of
WWE. I know.
Everything else I'm enjoying, but
I know, it's like
champ,
you're not going to be asleep. You're not going to be awake for that match. I know, and it's maybe not his fault, but maybe he's just not. It's just not working. It's one of those things that it's just not entirely the time, the story, the people, the opponents, everything's just something a little bit off with it. But I see the build up of everything, and maybe the pull that Edge, Adam Copeland has. Maybe if he says to Tony Khan, I think the right thing to do for me is to win this match. I think Tony Khan would go, okay. I don't think the backbone's strong enough to pivot or to say, no, this is what's happening because I've got a clear plan. because the clear plan has looked fucking ridiculous from day dot with the Death Riders. So I think Cope wins. I think Swerve wins, and I think whether or not there's some shenanigans and differences and changes and maybe even triple threats, fatal four ways, leading you into Double or Nothing. I think that's potentially what could happen if I was to put money on it. But again, if Mox wins, then I'm not going to be surprised.
I think so. I think if Swerve beats Ricochet, and then you can pretty much put your house on it, Moxley wins, because I think Swerve's one of the guys that they can. He had a great run as champ already, so they know he can do it again, and he's one of the main characters, isn't he? So they know they'll get a safe run out of him, and you can set up him and Hangman again, or MJF. I think that's. I keep begging and pleading. I'm going to hurry up and book that feud. Come on, because that's your money feud right there. Or Okada. That'd be pretty cool to see. So
see, I've been pretty checked out of AEW this year. I've very rarely watched any of it. The last bits that I remember watching, Jay White was involved somewhere along the lines with Christian Cage. Is there a possibility that Moxley retains, Christian goes to cash in, Jay White stops the cash in, and they set up Jay White to fight Christian Cage for that contract, and then you've got Jay White putting himself in the mix as a number one contender as well, because he's still I know they've kind of went a bit facey with him, but he's still in that kind of middle ground where you can't really trust him, and that's
like Swerve. He can heal a babyface like that whenever he wants.
Yep. Because I know you're saying, Swerve v Mox is probably the way they'll go. I think with this being Ricochet's first major feud, I don't think you can have him lose it. I don't like Swerve's got enough equity there that he can bounce back from for getting beat off Ricochet. But if you're killing Ricochet in his first feud, especially when he's got this complete dickhead character over, I think Ricochet's got a better chance of coming out of that than Strickland at this moment in time.
It's an interesting point, and there's a possibility of a Nana heel turn. That whole thing with the robe, and maybe could in a weird way blame Swerve for happening, something like that. So yeah, there's that option to take. My fear there is as though that would mean Swerve's been losing the feuds now more than he's been winning them, because he lost to Lashley at the end of last year as well.
I think though, I like Swerve as the chaser. I enjoyed his title run, but I think the chase to it. I think chasing the title was really good with Swerve, because that's where we got to see him, plumb the depths of his soul to get what he wanted. So I don't get me wrong. Moxley v Swerve, I think the claret would be flowing pretty freely in that kind of feud, and it'd be great to watch. But I just think that it's too early for them to knock Ricochet down. I think bringing him in, he's on this streak just now. He's an absolute prick. I think he's the one that should go over in that one.
Going, would he then face Moxley, or would it be Cope for the title?
I think you could put an interesting, spin on Ricochet versus Cope. To be honest, it might not be the main event, It might not be the best match, but it could be a sort of main event rise for Ricochet, against the dependable character in there. It's not going to be somebody who's, well, I'd like to say it's not going to be somebody who'll want the limelight for themselves. It's just a sort of Randy Orton character who can pull you through a good match and make you look like a star. And he wouldn't win. He wouldn't win at this stage of his AEW career, but whether that changes people and can show more of a rugged personality, a rugged sort of nature to Ricochet, and something that's not just been total babyface, total dickhead. Somewhere in the middle where he can just prove that he can put on these matches and just have a lot of layers to him. So that's one theory of why Ricochet might be a good winner of that. But whether this is just total fantasy booking, it might never get to that. Who knows?
I think they should just go with a complete clusterfuck finish. I think you have Cope beats Mox, Christian Cage cashes in, then whoever wins out of Swerve, and Ricochet just says, "I want my match right now," and then they have them beat Christian. So in the space of like 5 minutes, you've had 4 champions. Mox loses it, Cope loses it, Christian loses it, and then Swerve or Ricochet walks out. But I think it'd be absolutely mental. But
they could call it the night of the 4 champions kind of thing.
I think that I would highly doubt it would happen, but I wouldn't put it past TK for that.
And then Tony Khan comes out after it to sort of try and stop the commotion, after, Swerve, the new champ's been taken out and he's lying there on the ground and sort of gets nudged, falls onto Strickland, and because it's just chaos, the ref counts it, and sort of Tony Khan walks out, on a stretcher with a belt over him.
Neck brace. He's using the belt as a neck brace.
Yes, that's the neck brace.
What I would do with Ricochet is I would have him beat Daniel Garcia for the TNT title, because I think he'd be a good solid mid-card champion, Ricochet. And he's
so what's happened to the TNT title? There's 10 matches, but that's not made its way into the card.
I think it's the one. It seems to be the one title they keep off the pay-per-views because it's purely designed to be a TV title. It's one of the ones that they actually.
But the TBS title should be that as well, though.
I know, but it's because it's Mercedes Moné that's holding it. I'm a believer that they should make that a kind of not the rookie title, but like the one that like the title for like your up and comers, and obviously have your world title obviously be the pay-per-view one. You know what I mean? That's what it should be. But I think I can see Ricochet getting a good run with the TNT title. It seems because Daniel Garcia I like, but he's had a wee bit disappointing as the TNT title. I can't really remember him getting much traction out of it. So
since he came back after the MJF stuff. Like there's been there's nothing about him. He's got no Riz. He's got no order.
Yeah.
What's Jack Perry up to?
I was about to ask. Are you envisioning any major debuts or returns from this? Because AEW always like to do that with their pay-per-views.
I don't think there'll be any debuts. Like I know that they're never going to beat Adam Cole and Brian Danielson coming in. They're never going to beat that. They don't have. There's no casino shenanigans or whatever. There's no multi-man matches to have somebody like Matt Sydal come in and fall off the top rope. So I don't know. Is this? Do we see Speedball at any point? Is that like?
I think he has signed, and I've also heard Josh Alexander from TNA. I wouldn't want them both coming out at the same time. Eddie Kingston, I'm sure he was due his return by now.
No, I think he's still rehabbing. I think he's still rehabbing. Where's the GYV? Where are they? Like, I know that there was a thing saying that they're not fully signed, but they appeared at All In did a couple of things and that's been it. You know, they've been nowhere to be seen as well. So I don't know if you bring them back into the fold or...
Who was that? GY Whip?
The Grizzled Young Vets.
James Drake and Zach Gibson.
They've never really. I feel quite bad for them because they've always been a very decent, very decent tag team. But even in NXT and things like that, they've never been the guys at all, ever. Not at one point. You know, they've been runners up a couple of times at the Dusty Classic, and obviously I'm sure they were in TNA at one point, weren't they? For a short period of time, you know, they've been dotting around here and there. They've obviously massive stars, Zach Gibson, especially on the British independents, but they've never really been given the ball to run with at all. And I think they're more than good enough, and more than good enough on the mic to do so. So I think they deserve it, and I think leaving them on the shelf and not doing anything with them is just a waste of a new toy.
Baron Corbin.
Can you imagine?
No, like genuinely, I reckon. Like, what's it? He's calling himself Bishop something now. His 90 days will be up. So he'd be one of the ones I would expect to see. If not at this, then certainly turn up at some point soon.
And of course, the Young Bucks, they've been suspiciously quiet.
Well, they've been doing all the Japan stuff, haven't they?
Aye. You think surely they're going to rear their ugly heads sooner rather than later. Then Jack Perry, like you mentioned, Lewis, like he's been conspicuously absent as well.
Does Perry cost Omega the match with Takeshita, and then that's the Elite coming back in?
Oh yeah, we can maybe do good Elite versus bad Elite or something like that.
Because I mean, there's still. I know we're kind of rambling on a bit here, but there's still that kind of connection between Ospreay and Omega that they had for the Australian match. So there's your tag team to go up against the Bucks at some point is them, and if you bring Perry into that international fold, then there's probably something there.
Yeah, possible. And Darby, is he came down from Mount Everest yet?
He's going to Comic Con in Glasgow next year. Apparently, I saw that. so that's that's somewhere that's going to be on his travels.
Maybe I might go to that. see what I can find out from him. And I think we'll wrap things up there. So, AEW Revolution should be a good June, but get the coffee in because it's also going to be a long one. Anything else we want to talk about, lads? In any other kind of stories looking about maybe we should give a bit of attention to?
None that I can really think of. I mean, I know we didn't really discuss anything that happened in the chamber matches, but there's probably been plenty of other podcasts by this time that have dissected it all. And Punk's bald fraud promo on the Rock was pretty good as well.
No, that was going to be. I thought should we mention the deleted Becky tweet?
I don't know if there's too much in that or not. I think it's just been. I think
it looked a bit naughty.
It did. And the fact that she's deleted it suggests maybe that somebody's had a word. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's anything that pans out for that.
Cool. So thank you very much for tuning in to another edition of the Heat Sheet. So just to reflect that our front page was in relation to the John Cena heel turn. Who seen that coming? Our back page was Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn from Elimination Chamber. No catchy headline, just saying, just fucking watch it. And we've previewed AEW Revolution. Lewis, Chris, it's been lovely speaking to you both again. Anything else you just want to plug or ad?
No.
I'm all wrestled out.
Same.
I'm getting up to the 10 count at about 9 here.
Okay. No. I just want to quickly plug my my comedy show. It's part of the Glasgow International Comedy Festival, March 26th at Van Winkle, West End. It's called 40-1. You'll be able to catch myself representing the Millennials, the great Graham Mackey representing the Boomers, and the great up-and-comer Taylor Graham. He's going to be representing Gen Z. Buy your tickets now. I'll try and leave a QR link in my Instagram page, which is at Steve Striker. But until then, if you like the heat, get between the sheets.